Hello everyone, this is Life Love Podcast. I am your host, Debbie Doesi Ajum. Welcome to the show. Life Law is your one-stop podcast for beautiful, interesting, captivating, and relatable stories. So if this is your first time listening, we hope you stick around, follow and subscribe, rate the podcast as well because we've got so much in store. And while you're here, do check out the previous stories. Thank you. In this episode, I'm going to be reading to you the 5th story from the short story collection Billings Highway. It is long overdue, I know, but we're back in business. So don't forget that this is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places, and incidents are a product of my imagination and are used fictitiously. So any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, business establishments, or events is entirely coincidental. For today, the title of our story is Too Little, Too Late. I have ruined my life. No, scratch that. I have ruined my wife's life. I have ruined our lives. What an inappropriate time to have an epiphany, but I just heard mother's voice in the debris of my chaotic mind. Junior, your obsession for revenge will one day lead you into a ditch with no way out. Mark my words. Then she'd go ahead to hold her ear with her thumb and forefinger for dramatic effect. Learn to forgive and forget. Do you hear me? No matter how many times I claimed to hear her and heed to her wise words, I went ahead to appease my heart's desires. If mother scolded me, I would puncture her cat hairs or burn her expensive laces. The dry cleaners always got the blame, and mother kept changing them till she caught up on my deeds. I was sent to a boarding school soon after because mother and father could no longer tolerate me. They claimed that I did worse in school and would have got myself expelled if not for father's pleas for forgiveness that were made in fat envelopes to the principal, but I only lived by the mantra, an eye for an eye. If you hurt me in any way, I hurt you back. I was an only child, and when I got into university, I turned a new leaf, or so I thought. Well, mother was right. I have found myself in a ditch with no way out. Look what you've done. My wife's sobs teleport me back to the moment. She sprawled on the plush pitch rug, one she had handpicked when we'd gone interior deco shopping right after our honeymoon, tears and snot oozing down her face. She's tying only a wrapper, and it has come loose on her chest, one breast on full display. Below her collarbone is a jagged scar that runs all the way to her armpit. I am the artist that drew that scar and many others on her body, like the one on her shin and on her hairline that magically misses her forehead. Over the years, her body has been my canvas, and I have been the proud and fulfilled artist. Leaving those bruises that metamorphosed into scars always left me feeling satisfied. If you had come to watch the play. My wife whimpers and straightens up into a sitting position. Now the wrapper has fallen down to her waist. If only you had come. You would have seen that it was part of the play. She sobs and hugs herself. My world implodes, and mother's words keep ringing in my head till I feel like they're echoing non-stop. I take 2 steps back and plop down on the sofa. I can't look my wife in the eyes, for now I know I have wronged her dearly. I stare at the clock on the wall, just above her head, and like a time machine, I am tick-tocked back to 9 years ago, where it all began. Babe! Judith stroked my small goatee, which has now turned into a full beard. You know this means so much to me. I sighed in frustration. Women and their wahala. I said I'd be busy, Ju. Why was that so hard for her to understand? Judith pouted and wriggled her body in protest. You're always busy, babe. Why can't you do this for me just this once? I pretended to be deep in thought, like I would suddenly change my mind about attending her event. My heart ached at the way her eyes glinted with hope that I was going to be busy with classes and then work. I couldn't make it. Inevitably, I shook my head. I can't make it, Ju. Maybe next time. Judith's face fell, but she nodded and said, No wahala, babe. I knew she'd understand. I was a great boyfriend. I was kind to her. I cared for her, provided for her when I could, loved her. My inability to attend one event wouldn't make her hate me or stop loving me. I was in my 3rd year while she was in her 1st year. That wasn't the first or last event that would be organized. I could always attend the next one. But throughout the day, after going our separate ways, Judith back to her apartment and me into school, I couldn't erase the picture of her sad eyes when I told her I was going to be too busy to go and watch the play. I remembered the many times my excessive workload was a determining factor for my absence at her shows. I was a pharmacy student and I worked part-time at the university pharmacy, so my free hours were pretty limited. But I decided to call into work sick and please my woman. As I paid the Okada man outside her gate and walked inside, I relished the sight of her draped in joy and relief at my change of heart. She would jump on me in delight, kiss me passionately, and tell me I was the best. Then we would go to school together. Did you tell him about the pregnancy? I stopped in my tracks, just outside her window. That was Nancy's voice, Judith's best friend. A shiver ran through my body. Pregnancy? Judith was pregnant and she didn't tell me? Or wait, was I not responsible for it? How could I? Judith replied solemnly. You and I both know that I don't have the heart to pin another man's child on my boyfriend. That's why I went ahead to get an abortion. The air got kicked out of my lungs like I got punched in the gut. I was yet to recover from news of the pregnancy, and now abortion? How could Judith do this to me? How could she cheat on me? My legs and the rest of my body were in sync. They stayed put like a magician had cast a spell on me not to move. I heard Nancy say something like "now wow," but I could only grasp her last words. You have lost your womb. What are you going to do now? I don't know, Judith cried. I just know I love my boyfriend and I'm going to marry him. Nancy uttered some more words, but my loud thumping heart was all I could hear. I could not believe my ears. Judith, the girl I loved with all my heart, had got pregnant by another man, gone ahead to get an abortion, and lost her womb in the process. And somehow, she still claimed to love me and even planned to marry me. In that moment, my body vibrating with anguish and anger, I decided I would make life a living hell for Judith. She had hurt me, and I would hurt her back. I left Judith's house and never attended the show. Neither did I confront her about the information she and her best friend had spilled while I eavesdropped. But 3 years later, after her graduation, we got married. And that's when I began to show her my true colors. Colors that had turned a dull gray after leaving boarding school. Colors I thought were just part of my childhood and not a part of who I am. I hated her. I would beat her to a bloody pulp and treat her wounds with drugs from my pharmacy. I told her I only liked freshly cooked meals and hand-washed clothes. If she took too long to finish preparing my meal, if she overstayed at the market, and if I saw her talking to any man, I would punish her. She had no family to run to, no friends, no job, no savings to start life on her own. I was all she had. I wasn't always violent. I loved her too. Many times my conscience won and I would treat her like my queen after every deserved beating. I would cook for her, buy her apology gifts, take her out on dates when the wounds had healed, and make sweet love to her. She stayed, hoping that I would change, hoping I would go back to that perfect man whom she had fallen in love with. But whenever I remembered how she had cheated and lied, I turned red with rage. She never got pregnant, and I made sure of it by dropping little tablets in her tea whenever I was nursing her back to good health. Her worm was of no use, but I didn't want to take chances. She didn't deserve to be a mother after the hideous thing she had done. Little did I know that I was falling in a ditch head first at an alarming speed. "We were only rehearsing my script!" Judith is screaming at me now, rolling herself on the floor side to side. "My husband has killed me over a script. Hey God, oh, I'm dead. I am finished." My wife was a theatre arts student, and that show had been a play in which she had been given the lead role. That was why she was bent on making me go and watch her. What I had assumed to be her other life was all the script. If only I had confronted her. If only I had gone to watch the play. If only my quest for vengeance had not reawakened. I sit crouched on the sofa, my head in my hands. I don't know what to say to Judith. An apology won't suffice. Nothing I say will change the situation or turn back the clock. The scars on her body or the ones in her heart will not vanish. Her worm will not heal. Her life will not change. It's all too little, too late. As my wife keeps sobbing hysterically and blaming me for being the weapon fashioned against her in life, I make up my mind to put a few tablets in her tea later today and end her suffering forever. Hey there, if you made it this far, you have come to the end of episode 5 of Viewing's Highway. Did you enjoy this story? Follow and subscribe, rate the podcast because our next story will be out in 2 weeks and you don't want to miss it. Share this episode, tell a friend, tell somebody to tell somebody about Life Law Podcast. Shoot us a DM on Instagram or TikTok at lifelaw_podcast if you would love to collaborate with us, if you would love to place an advert with us. Thank you so much for listening. Please do not forget to drop a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are about our villain or this story in general. Until I come your way next time, I am Debbie Doisi Ajum. Peace out. Man,